world of tank blitzers and future mumrads. Hey, I'm Littlefinger, back today. This time I'm talking about the Japanese medium tier 2 Chi-Ni. You can see it here in my garage. Turret's a little offset. It is kind of small. The tank is about average size for the tier. Let's go ahead and take a look at characteristics. Protection there at 8%. It does lead its class. Firepower at 17%. Maneuverability 43%. It comes in with 28 hit points. Hull armor there at 25 and 30 for the turret are the top and the medium tier 2s. The weight there at 10 tons is the lightest of the mediums, and the engine horsepower is the lowest at 135, and it also has the slowest speed of the mediums there at 30 kilometers per hour. Again, 38 and 30 for traverse and turret traverse speed are also the bottom of the class. So, good armor, but not very mobile. I am going here with the 5.7 centimeter gun type 97 with a 9.4 rounds per minute. The AP is rather low there with 30 millimeters of penetration, but it does do a high amount of damage. Again, just like the Japanese tanks, it does require a good bit of pramo to penetrate. I guess that's kind of the downside to this tank. Anyway, that's about it. Let's pull up the spreadsheet and just quickly show you how this tank compares. So here's our trusted spreadsheet for the Chi-Ni. You can see here at the top, hit points green, armor green, weight green, all of those are good, and best in class, except the engine is the smallest of the mediums in tier 2, and thus it has a slower speed. Also the traverse and turret traverse are the slowest also. Shell penetration is not great with this compared to the other tier 2 mediums. This only really comes into play when you guys are playing against tier 3s, but otherwise you do need to use a lot of pramo on this tank. 90 hit points of damage is very good there, and also the rate of fire is also pretty good compared to the medium 2, which does the same amount of damage but a slower rate of fire. So take your time aiming with this gun. It can be a little bit frustrating. Also, as you'll see in some of the gameplay videos, I had a hard time with the shell velocity and leading moving tanks and trying to hit them. So anyway, let's head back to the garage and show you how I've set up. Okay, here we are back in the garage. You can see that I do not have any camouflage on this tank. Let's take a look at the consumables. Standard for me are the repair kit, the multi-purpose restoration pack, and of course adrenaline. On this I am running all three provisions: standard fuel for a 3% increase to engine power and turret traverse speed, white rice for a 3% increase to crew mastery, and of course an absolute must protective kit, primarily for the reduction to chances of fire and the prevent crew injuries. Ammunition, you can see here I am carrying 18 rounds of heat. It's a fairly high number. Don't forget that you can change from gold to credits with the shell price button there. Equipment, I am running the enhanced gun laying drive, the vents, and I decided to run with the binocular telescope, which requires you to be stationary to use. So this didn't come into play very often in my gameplays, as you'll see coming up here. Alright guys, here we are, first game, Copperfield. I am top tier, and I like to head to the right. I'm going to go up to this ridge real quick. This is a little bit fast forwarded, so I can get kind of in a hull down position. Of course, this guy comes through quickly, and I managed to get a shot off. And our team all comes up together, and when I say all, I mean all comes up together. You can see here it's kind of turned into a little bit of a cluster. I would just want to go forward and keep pushing forward, and they keep coming back. And I know I talk a lot about not blocking other tanks. I think that was just kind of getting a little bit too close to everybody. So anyway, I see that they have gone down to base. I want to check here to the right at the spawn, make sure that there's no one there, and then make sure it is okay to take care of the guy that's gone straight to base. That first shot there misses, so I'm going to switch over to heat, make sure these ones count. And our team is all focused on this guy, and of course he doesn't last very long. So that was the second kill, and we've got the other Chini on the other team spotted up. I'm going to go ahead and stay on heat just because I know the Chini there and even the Atsu have very good armor. He tracks me and gets the driver. I managed to go ahead and reload and take him out for the third kill. Lose sight there, but the Chini pops up, so go ahead and take him. And I've looked at my mini map and I see that the AT1 has popped up. He is more of a threat, immediate threat for us than the guy sitting over by the water tower, so want to go and take him out first. That shot misses. You know, it's kind of rushed. You really have to be patient with the aiming here. That shot, I guess, hits low on the tracks and doesn't do any damage. But I do manage to finish him off for kill number 4. And so we've got the two guys, now one guy that was over at the water tower. And we are 4 on 2. That medium here has pushed over. He's got showing some red, so I'm going to switch over to heat. Drop the adrenaline just because he is in the open and I know I can get at least one more shot in. And of course, this is what I'm talking about with the shell velocity. I missed that one. Managed to lead that one enough to make it count, and now he is just a one shot, so pull out for kill number 5. Meanwhile, our guys have taken the other guy on the water tower side, and to be honest with you, I had to play quite a few games to get this mastery badge. Had to be very aggressive and had to get a little bit of luck with some of those shots hitting. So even though I was running at about 72-73% win rate in this tank, it was difficult to get the mastery. So on to the next game. Second game I want to show you is actually a loss, but I felt it was a good example of how to use hard cover and inflict a lot of damage even if you don't have the best team on your side. So you can see there we've got a couple guys going straight to the automatic sniping area where everyone knows that they're going to sit. I'm going to push along this ridge line, making sure I keep these buildings behind in front of me. And we get a couple guys spot up because half of our team there has gone to base. So going to aim for the biggest gun, which is definitely that AT2. Going to get 2 shots into him. And I'm going to be patient here and try to get the third one in there. It gets attracted by the wall for some reason. But as I've told you guys, the turret on this is really strong, and that's all I'm showing from behind the wall there in that spot. So this T7 carrier is going to come around, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish him off. Also making sure that I'm staying behind this wall, and they have pushed up closer to the flag, so I no longer have good shots on them. And you can see a little bit of the frustration with the lower shell velocity of this gun. I'm missing that shot. Now all of a sudden, what was a competitive game has turned on to a 5-on-2. I don't know what happened to my team there, but they just completely disappeared. So that wasn't very good of me. I was showing the broadside of my tank. So what I'm doing here is just making sure to stay behind this wall, shoot, and then pull forward so that they don't have a shot. I get one of the tanks out of the way, and that MS-1 is just sitting on top of that hill, so I can back up, shoot, and move forward. And now I am the lone tank in the game. So 1-on-4 is almost an impossible situation to come back from. And making some mistakes against that Cheney, not thinking that he's going to be that accurate with his shots, but he gets 2 good shots into me. I have to repair the ammo rack. Not sure that MS-1 disappeared on me, so I went ahead and took a shot anyway. But I'm kind of just holding my own position here. And of course, you guys know how this is going to end, but I know they're going to be closing in on me. And of course, keep in mind here, I'm shooting heat just to make sure that these shots count. If he were to get behind those tents, I would need to switch to the AP, because the heat and the HE are not going to go through the tents. So I am just moving back and forward, and that guy was just sitting there waiting on me. But you can see here from the results at the end of the game, I managed to have, I think it was 991, almost 1,000 damage, 10 times the next closest on my team. I mean, you know, you can't help the teams you get sometimes. Alright, so here we are on mines. Again, this time I am top tier, and as you know by now, my strategy is to push the mine hills if at all possible. And because it is so crucial to take the hill, I do automatically switch over to my Pramo, just to make sure each and every shot that I take at the beginning actually counts and I don't bounce anything, because this can be critical to surviving or getting killed. So anyway, that Renault Atsu is right there. He has very, very good armor, so it made sense to be on the heat anyway. You can see here, get the first shot in on the second Renault Atsu, and still loaded with heat, and shoot him there in the tracks, and it does no damage. So we have quickly taken out 2 of their tanks, and we are 7-on-2. And switch over to HE, because this guy is showing me his side, and you can see there kind of a little bit of the frustration with leading with this this gun. The lead time is tough to judge when you're so used to using tanks with faster shell velocities. So I've got 2 guys around the corner here, so I can edge around. And you can see here, he was showing no yellow there in the middle, so that's where I was aiming. Shoot that guy, he gets tracked, I don't do any damage. Get that shot off and do a nice 110. So if you can use HE on the lower tier tanks, you're going to do significantly more damage. You can see I was doing about 110 hit points there versus about 90. You can see I hit him in the tracks on low and only did 3 damage there, but hit him in the backside and do quite a bit of damage on that other shot. Team's going to finish him off 7-on-1. Gotten 4 kills so far. Thinking this could be my mastery game. So I'm going to push up to the flag and draw him out, and I notice that tank down there just lost some hit points, which makes me believe that he is probably over there by the lighthouse. So take this first shot and you can see how far I missed by. And again here I am leading him and shoot, and that one went way off into the water. So gonna get this shot in here, and he pulls forward. My only recourse really is to to go down the hill, and of course I track myself and get behind the rocks. So anyway, team finishes them off, and I end up with 4 kills and a level 1 mastery badge. So had to continue on to eventually get the mastery in that previous game. Alright, another game here that I thought was quite interesting and wanted to show you is this game on Copperfield, where again I am top tier, and I push up here to the right, and again like to use this ridge line here as a little bit of protection in case the other team comes flying around that corner. I can back down. This guy has moved up way too far too soon without any backup, and they is quickly finished off. I was moving forward to try to help him, but there wasn't much that I could do there. So I'm going to sit right here on this ridge and try to use those spikes there in the ground to my advantage and just rock back and forth as much as possible. I really want to get that T-18 out of the way, but he is a pain in the butt. So you can see here, I really want to get him out, and that MS-1 starts shooting me, and because all I'm showing is my turret, he does not do any sort of penetration damage to me. I've switched over to HE because he's showing me his side, and shot a little low on the first one, but finished him off with that second one. And now I've switched back to heat for the T-18 with that pesky frontal armor. Really need to be aiming a little bit further to the right here on that rather flat front spot. And you can see here I am using HE and getting quite frustrated. I mean heat, and getting quite frustrated because I'm not doing any damage. But finally finish him off. It's where I should have been aiming all along. Gonna get my 3rd kill right there. And I just thought this was really a good example of how you can pretty much hold 2 or 3, maybe even 4 tanks at bay just by having good positioning. I think I was a little bit late on that one. And then this medium is just sitting here. And if you remember, these mediums have very thin armor, so I'm going to switch back to HE and do 110 damage there with that last shot. 4 kills here. That T1 is not much longer for this world, and we get the victory. I don't do as much damage as I'd done in the previous games here, although it felt like I had. Only did 597 damage. Managed to keep that T-18 at bay. So this last game here I want to put into this gameplay review is on mines, and you can see here that I'm actually low tier. And yes, in fact, about half of my games were low tier. I didn't have all of my games at the high tier like it might seem with some of those videos before. So anyway, I am pushing up the mines as you've seen me do many times before. But they have gotten 2 of their faster tanks up to the other side of the flag. So at this point in time, there's not much point with me pushing much further. I am going to try to just stay on this ridge line and use that for protection. Go ahead and finish off that cruiser there. And you might have noticed previously I got shot a few times, but managed to bounce quite a few of those. So getting a little bit of help from the team, and you can see the PZ2G there, he is nothing but red. So Switch over to heat, just hoping for the best. But don't do any damage with that shot. So put him between me and the rock and watch him disappear. Watching the mini map there and see that this martyr pops up on the screen. Gonna go ahead and finish him off for kill number 2. And again, I am just staying around the flag looking for targets, but keeping myself a little bit behind that ridge line. You can see here he's only showing me part of his turret, so that was a fairly accurate shot. One of the few with this gun. So they've got 2 of their 3 guys hiding behind this rock, so I'm going to go ahead and push in. The 3rd guy pops up. Gotta be patient, wait for the aim, and then take the shot and get the kill. Last guy there. Gonna go ahead and get him in the tracks. He's gonna slide behind the building there, so I'm gonna move on down. Got heat loaded, showing me just that lower glacis there, and I'll go ahead and get kill number 4. So this was kind of a frustrating tank, I've got to admit. The gun just bothered me. I don't like the slower velocity for these shells. It is nice doing quite a bit of damage, but you know, you got to play through these tanks to get to some of the better upper tier Japanese. So as always, guys, have fun out there, be safe, get educated, not fingered. Little finger out.